Okay, welcome everyone. This is something that I think you're going to find very interesting. Our very first attempt at Bootstrap. This is obviously the first video that I'm going to make. We're going to take it slow. I'm going to just make some videos with a short amount of time on it to give you an opportunity to read some of the things that are going along in it as well, and to absorb some of the things. It's going to be challenging, yet it's going to be, I think, very rewarding for you, and it's something that you can expand upon. So there's a little bit change in the site definition. So normally I have them set up for you already. I'm going to do this manually right now, and we're going to make one change. So I'm going into site and new site. Then I'm going to call this my special naming convention, and Boulevard I'm going to call it. I'm going to set the local site folder to where I store my stuff, which is local on my computer. We're going to go to advanced settings, and we're going to do an extra step. In addition to changing the images to be the default image folder here, which is always a good idea, make sure you go to Bootstrap and make sure the Bootstrap version is 4.31 or whatever is current. On my version, it's 4.31. You're going to make sure that your version has at least 4 on it. If you have it on your own, you're probably going to have 4.31. If not, you're going to make sure that you use 4. The book is telling you to use 4. So as long as you have that set up, then you can click on Save. And I obviously have a mistake, so I need to fix this. Chosen is the same. The root folder you chosen is the same folder for site. So I need to fix that. Wonderful thing about Dreamweaver, if you make a mistake, it does tell you. So we have it over here now. We're working on it. Then I need to make sure that the images are in the right spot, which is okay. If you notice the pause, then that was because I got a phone call and I put it on pause. Unfortunately, I'm on call, so I have to occasionally answer the phone. So we are under videos, and we are here, and we are here. Root images is not inside, so I'm doing something wrong. Let me go and fix this. Let's go back to site and go back to local, and it looks to me like that's right. So let's save it and see what happens. Okay, I think we're in good shape now. If this happens, let's go back in now and just double check our settings. So we have online, VV videos 07, that looks good. And 2000 VP, okay, so that does look good. So I don't know why I got that message, but since you're only working off one site, you should not have that problem over there. So we created the new site on page 302 or 307. And that's number 4, number 5, and number 6. And number 7 is all done. So now we're going to create a new file. So let's go and File and New, and we're going to create an HTML. Only this time we're going to choose the Bootstrap tag. So here, normally this is what you get. So we're going to click on the Bootstrap tag. And what it wants us to do is create new right over here. We don't want to use existing. We need to uncheck include a pre-built layout in here. We don't want that. Then we're going to click on customize to make sure that we have 1230 and 576, 768, 992, and 1200. If those are what you have, then you're good to go and you don't have to do anything else. Then you're just going to click on create. Now notice that we have CSS, images, and content. So let's see what happens after we create it. Okay, now we have a JS, and we have in our CSS, we have a Bootstrap file, which is a lot of code in it, usually around 5,000. So that takes care of that. So the Bootstrap file itself, in this particular case, is going to be 4.3.1. So let's just double check and see what it is. 431, exactly. That's going to have all of your predefined classes for the various responsive page elements. And I mentioned before that it's locked. That's why you're going to see a lock sign on here. You do not want to edit anything in there. Just make another file and call it Bootstrap CSS or My Bootstrap CSS or anything that you have that excites you. So you can unlock it. Not a good sign in there. And then you have some JavaScript files that are necessary to make everything work according to what needs to be done. All right. So there's not going to be a lot of coding in here, but you'll see for sure. So we're going to save this as index. And now we have our index file. So you can see right now, if you take a look, we're doing number 18, that you can see we have a viewpoint, content width device, initial scale equals 1. If it's 1, then that just means we're going to do everything at 100%. So that's what the normal default is. You can try messing with it later on if you want to see what the different things goes in here. So now let's go into live view. Oh, also you notice that it did create the link to the Bootstrap file, and it also included script in here, jQuery, Popper, and Bootstrap in here. So you don't need to worry too much about that right now. So now we're going to click on live, and you can see green and purple bars. Green bars are the media queries that display only a max width. So you can see less than here. The purple bars are media queries that only provide a min width. So that means it's greater than 576, greater than 768. And there are none, but they're blue bars that both have a min width and a max width in there. So we don't have anything right now defined, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But that is page 310. So it wants us to click on the green bar up top over here. So let's click on it. And you can see as you click on it, you see what the different widths look like. Same thing with the purple bar. You click on that, you can see in here. So remember, if you're doing 1200, it's up to here. Will just be here. More than 1200 would obviously have higher things than that. So right now we're only worried about the things that we have on the screen right now. So we have already done 311. That's pretty cut and dry. So we're going to look at media queries. So what we need to do is we need to place the insertion point in the document window, which is pretty easy to do. There's only a body. Let's just go in and see what we have. All we have is a body. Nothing. No containers, no anything. So what it wants us to do is look at the Bootstrap, and we're going to insert. And there's two things to look at. So let's go to insert and Bootstrap. I have them already selected. There's container and container fluid. I'm a big container fan. What the container does is going to give you a fixed width. So it's going to give you 1140 for extra large, 960 for large, 720 for medium, 540 for small, and full width size in the extra small. The container fluid, which is really nothing more than a class, it has no predefined width properties, so that's going to be dynamically resizing. That has pluses and minuses. If you have a very huge screen, sometimes the text becomes extremely small, so you have to be very careful about that. I am really more of a container with a fixed width in there. So you can see that we have not actually done it, so let's click on container. And notice that it added a div and it added a container class. So let's go into code view, and it added this for you. Now we have all these things in here that are going to work, and that's going to be applied to very shortly. Go back to live view in here. So what it wants us to do is look at the CSS and all the container classes. So we're going to go to CSS Designer. We have this strapped, the Bootstrap in here, and we have the show set. So notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 container classes. One of them says container, and the others are going to be inside a media query. So I'll show you that in a second. So I want you to click on this and look at the properties, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So an easier way to do it is just right click on it, click on go to code, and you can see the container class has a width of 100%. That's the global one. Padding right, padding left, margin right and left, so it's auto, so it's centered. So that's how, so we'll go back to live over here. So notice when I clicked on this one, that's the global. That means affected unless it's overridden. So if we go down here, you can see this affects min width is 576, 768. So let's look at the 992 one. Let's go to code. And now notice that it says media min width 992 and the container class. So if the width of the screen is at least 992, then you don't have to worry about it. Now, here, what happens is whatever class takes over is going to be the one that's on the last. So if we have a container which is already taken care of, but this one, if the screen is bigger than 576, it's going to override that and make the max width 540. If it's 768 at least, it's going to make the max width. And then if it's 1200, so this one would win. If you have a screen that's greater than 1200, then it's going to be 1140 and it's going to ignore whatever hits last. Remember the expression, whoever laughs last, laughs best. Well, the last one in this particular case wins. It overrides in there. So you can see that, and you can look a little bit about 313. Just remember it follows the top-down methodology and displays it, and the one that comes up last is the one that's going to be the winner. So the next page is just asking you to look at the different things that are contained. I've got them all here, and basically all it is a width setting at all. And so if you want to take a look at the queries bar, you can do that as well, and it shows you the code as well on that. So once you click on the first container class, I want you to review the properties again. Let's go back in the live view. And here's the first container. Oops, here's the first container there, and you're good to go. And you can see it's got the media queries in there, all set in there. So that's it for this video. We're going to pick up on page 315 on defining the Bootstrap layer grid. So I hope you have a great day.